you can't fully manifest what God has put you here to do when you don't actually believe you deserve it.
Wow.
Because at some point, at all of these points, I end up operating in I end up operating in confident fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when you operate in fear, you never accomplish the fullness of what you've been called to do. We hear often God has not given us a spirit of fear.
Yes.
As I'm shaking in my boots,
right,
unwilling to take steps of faith.
Yeah.
Do what God has already told me.
Yeah.
I was put here for, but I don't believe. I know, Jay, there are times where I intellectually believed it, but molecularly did not. The very being of my spirit and my body was like, yeah, we hear you up there saying that, but nah, because you know, and this was it. I think this was it. You know everything you have failed at.
Yeah.
And I remember I asked you once, you ever thought about how hard it is to grow in public? And I think one of the challenges of my life was public too early.
Wow.
For my maturity level.
That's for all of us.
And so I'm talking about from being Black Student Union president at the University of Toledo to being the first. I'm the only person of color ever to be president student government at the University of Toledo. Like from that moment for me, life was public.
Right.
And so when life is public, you have choices in, do I lean into my character flaws?
Yeah.
To develop higher levels of character, or do I hide those things and over accentuate the things that I do well? And I did the latter in the name of years of arrested development in certain both emotional and psychological areas.
I remember we sat in my car almost 3 hours after Giselle filed for divorce. And I'm going over with you, what I'm going to say to Bishop? What's Reverend C going to say? What do I tell the church on Sunday? What if the Baltimore Sun comes? And you said at the end of all of that, how are you? And I was so fixed on damage control and publicity that I hadn't taken a moment to do an autopsy on humanity. I'm like, okay, I'm playing violins and moving chairs on the Titanic, and I don't even realize I'm on the raft. It's going down. Let it go down. But where are you in that process? Two things for that. One, I read somewhere, and I'm not sure if I read it or this is from Dr. Tamer. Your real friends are who you are and who you call in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, for me, Jeff, our burning sands moment.
Do you remember what else I said to you before I got out the car?
Tell me.
The worst thing you've ever done is never bigger than the call on your life.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Because I felt like you was about to run for the hills.
Oh, I was on my way to Zimbabwe, brother.
Like, and I was just like, yo, I get it. I get it, because I remember when Malcolm was born.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, this baby being born is like a manifestation of every character flaw I have.
Yes.
And I think back like, yo, you was dumb. But it wasn't that. It was, man, I think part of it was, I'm so glad I had you in that time. I had some, because the other thing, man, is I was, for the better part of my life, an expert at managing crisis by myself, which is horrifying.
Yes.
Because the worst thing you could do is be in your own head by yourself during times of crisis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you just make more mistakes. I was about to take a youth pastor job in Vallejo.
No, listen. we were at Southern University in Baton Rouge. Both of us were speaking. I don't even know how this happened. Both of us are speaking. You were up before me. There's one of them black male summits. And you up talking to the students. Hey, I was unfaithful to my wife. I got a kick. I'm sitting there like, Jeff, no. Go back. Abort. This ain't it. The students are there with their jaws to the ground.
No, that was CBC.
Is that what that was?
That was a CBC pass. Because you called me.
Listen.
Afterwards, it was like, are you okay? Are you under duress? What has happened? Why are you telling all these people this stuff? It's not out yet.
Right. Right. Not meet the press, beat the press. No, but that was a critical moment of, you always hear, embrace your own ish before somebody else can tell your story. Mm-hmm. I've read it. I had never seen it until you. I'm telling you. And it was horrifying and inspiring. It was. It was like, wow, you can really do it, but I ain't doing that. And to be able to embrace flawed manhood with excellence. Because we often see flaw as weakness, but to own it and not lease it. You know, wasn't the devil made me to do it. The secretary came in. I'm just getting out of jail. It was willful disobedience. And we had to go through the cycles of manhood, let me say, with examples of good manhood. We couldn't fall completely back on. We had no clue, no idea, but made that decision.
But the struggle is often too. I've learned as I've gotten older how to share my own transparency without indicting others. But often we were in an ecosystem that encouraged you to feel comfortable with being hypocritical. Like, it's major dudes around.
Yeah.
That's like, nah, man, you ain't got to be good.
Yes.
Just show good.
Right.
Like, let me show you this game, right? This game is get up, give a dope speech,
and go on.
Serve the people, and then just don't keep her at the same hotel everybody else at.
Right.
Like, and I'm watching this as a 20-something-year-old, and I'm confused because I want to be a good dude.
Yes.
But I'm like, well, this the way you're supposed to do it.
Yes.
And there's tension in this for me as a 20-something-year-old coming up, because like the veil of this myth, the veil of the myth of perfection was lifted.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge for me. And I realized how much of my life I have failed at my own humanity trying to be perfect for other people.
Yeah.
Or not fail other people. And then in denying myself the things that I need inherently, I didn't know how to say what I needed. So I was frustrated. And then when I didn't get what I needed, because nobody around me knew what I needed, because I never said it, then I created a pattern of hustling my needs.
Yeah.
At the cost of the people that needed me the most. And it wasn't out of an attempt to be some shady dude. It was out of a immaturity and inability to understand that what I needed mattered while I was serving the people who I loved most. And that lying was never justifiable tool of getting what I needed, even if it was in private.
Yeah.
And I think the struggle for me too, as I think about that trajectory, was I felt guilty a lot of times for having a father that was there.
Wow.
Right? Because we surrounded by so many cats who didn't.
Right.
And I never processed the difference or the nuance between presence and capacity. I ain't never had to look for my dad.
Yeah.
My dad showed up times I was like, I wish this Negro would go somewhere. Like, why is he showing up in my classroom?
Don't pop up.
What is this dude doing?
Right.
But I never thought to myself, what does my dad not have the capacity to teach me? And so even as I'm going out in the world and there's righteous men who want to mentor me, I'm like, I don't need you.
Right.
I got a father.
Right.
Denying myself what I actually needed. And then out of some machismo and desire for growth and advancement, I'm targeting mentors who don't want to mentor me.
Yeah.
And don't have the capacity to give me character.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I'm hurt
Yeah.
from a dude who doesn't have character rejecting me,
Yes.
but who got cachet. And I'm rejecting a cat who's got character, but doesn't have cachet.
Yeah.
And so navigating that, when you talk about this identity of what manhood really is, the pathway and the journey of it, and recognizing that there should never be a moment where I don't have a plethora of men who have character in given areas, teaching me how to elevate my character